This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a news update for everyone. Many people commented that they noticed that Brian Pillman Jr. was one of the wrestlers in the crowd at AEW Fyter Fest that took place this past Wednesday. Of course, Fyter Fest had less viewers than NXT Great American Bash, but they did win in the ratings. Lost in viewership, won in ratings, but the rating was only a 0.29, so it didn't even make 0.3. But it did beat the 0.22 WWE had. But the point is, there's also pictures of Chris Jericho backstage with Pillman. It's known that Jericho is friends with Brian Pillman's son as well as Chris Benoit's son. I do suspect there's some sort of something going on behind the scenes with Benoit's son for sure. But he really needs to hit the gym. He doesn't even look like he works out at all, let alone lifted a 5-pound weight in his life. But yes, we could be seeing Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW. That's a sign. I don't know what's going on with MLW. I think they may have held 3 events so far in 2020, and I don't think there's anything further announced yet for 2020. They do have some good talent, but from what I understand, according to reports, some of the talent, such as probably the bigger stars like Jacob Fatu, have guaranteed contracts, where other stars are just paid every time they wrestle. I know when Ted Hart was with MLW, he said he made $500 a match or something. So MLW talent, if they're not wrestling, they got to probably be looking for other places to go. A few people commented when I did a video the other day that I thought that Davey Boy Smith Jr. could really be the face of the NXT UK brand and help give it a boost that it desperately needs. And some people said, well, that'd be a step down from it for him. How could that be a step down from MLW that's not even running shows? And WWE gives you a contract and there's other options to move up. But you could see Davey Boy Smith Jr. in AEW just as easily. You could see Davey Boy Smith Jr. He was supposed to be in All Japan, but border issues prevented that. Let's get into a couple other news. WWE has bought Evolve for whatever that's worth. They had pretty much stated they weren't going to run. It seemed like all their events were canceled and they were seemingly having funding issues. And apparently WWE's bought their library. I was never a fan of Evolve. I never thought anything of it, actually. WWE had already been working with them. But they were kind of a feeder system. They were kind of a system below NXT for WWE. So WWE owns their library now and I guess owns the name if they ever want to do something with that company that I think. I don't know anything about Gabe Sapolsky other than he's booked for several companies and was the booker for Evolve. As I said, I wasn't impressed at all with anything I saw from Evolve. Lots of small wrestlers doing gymnastics. If I wanted to see someone flip, I'd watch someone bouncing on a trampoline or the tumbling and the crazy stuff that you see in the Olympics. But the truth is, the only Olympic sport I like to watch, I guess, is wrestling and boxing, 2 sports that I kind of compete in myself, even though I'm just a very amateur boxer. Also, the Warlord interview I was supposed to do with him was supposed to happen this week. But from what I understand, he's told me that his father and his daughter have COVID So that interview will be delayed to next week. So let's hope that they both recover. He does live in Florida, and we know about these outbreaks. The rioting and stuff that's going on now throughout the U.S. is not helping the spread of this. But to make up for it, I did manage to secure an interview with Tito Santana Arriba, the Matador himself. I did do a quick shoot interview, or a quick 10-minute interview with him in Philadelphia, that town of scum. The only good thing about Philadelphia, I guess, is the Rocky movies, and that's about it. But I'm not a fan of Philadelphia or the fans from Philadelphia at all. Definitely turns me off to even think about that slime town. At least the riots are destroying that city too, on the bright side. And finally, Rick Bassman clips. Some people have been asking why I've posted a lot of Rick Bassman's content. He trained the Ultimate Warrior. He helped organize their training. Sting, John Cena. He helped organize so many stars over the years. So I have a lot of respect for him. He's starting a Talking Tough podcast. So I will be posting some content on this channel, and also helping him get his own Rick Bassman YouTube channel going. So he's going to try and do video podcasts from now on and post them on that channel. And you'll see some of that content on this channel. And he is actually helping me get some interviews as well, which I'm looking forward to because the borders are closed. And actually, with the cases of COVID going way down in Canada and way up in the US, it's probably a good thing the borders are closed, even though it sucks because I can't go there for an interview trip. But I'm happy now because where I live, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, the capital city of Canada, the gyms are still closed, but I can drive 45 minutes to Quebec and work out. And it's amazing because I'm so happy to be back lifting weights, back putting on strength and size, that it's actually helped my runs because my spirits have been up. So I had a great workout tonight and a great run. I'll get into some of your questions. Alex, Legal Research. Pillman Jr. seems like a nice guy, while the father seemed darker with the edge and the personal demons. Yeah, I've asked Pillman to do interviews with me, and I don't know. He's young. He just didn't seem like to want to commit to doing an interview with me. So he seemed a little flaky from that standpoint. But I did like his father's later gimmick. The WCW stuff that they did with Kevin Sullivan, who is the manager of the Blood Hunter, was wonderful. New York Crazy Rob says early morning news. Yes. Kerpal 321. Didn't they get rid of wrestling at the Olympics? You know what's funny about that comment? At one point, not too long ago, literally around 2012-ish, 2013-ish, they almost got rid of amateur wrestling. But now with the popularity of UFC, and now that everyone's realized amateur wrestling is such a great, important part of self-defense, I think it's more popular than ever. Maybe not ever as in the Greco-Roman times, but amateur wrestling is extremely popular now. And I like to see that. It was popular when WWE had their Attitude Era boom in the 90s too, similar to the connection with MMA. When wrestling was popular, people wanted to wrestle. Even though it's two different sports, it's just the way it was. New York Crazy Rob says, I don't sleep till just before sunrise. I had a skin cancer issue. It's gone. but I don't want to be out in the sun. My job is still closed. So unless I have appointments, I don't have to get up. So I really just keep my own schedule. And there's nothing better than these midnight runs that I do. There's literally nobody out, and it's great. Noel O'Reilly says he looks forward to the Tito Santana interview. Someone says they're actually looking more forward to that than Warlord. I heard AEW is allowing wrestlers to take interviews. Maharaja says. I haven't heard that. And just like when they had their little media scrums, do you guys remember when they were doing that after pay-per-views? I requested it when they did it, but I never heard anything back. And I saw people that they allowed to those media scrums that have nowhere near the credibility I have. So I don't expect. Well, if I run into an AEW guy, like for instance at the PCW Ultra show that was canceled, I was supposed to be covering that, and Luchasaurus and I think Marco Stunt were supposed to be on that. So if I ran into them there, yes, I could have, but I don't think. First of all, our fans on this channel are old school fans, and every time I've done interviews with younger wrestlers, they're not even that popular. So I like to try and go after the older wrestlers. And because I don't like wrestling as much anymore, I'm moving into celebrities and UFO stuff and MMA fighters and boxers. I really want to interview George Chuvalo. EMAC asked Tito why Martel isn't in the Hall of Fame. That's a good question. Martel is totally disgruntled with pro wrestling. So lots of comments on here. Thank you for all the comments. If someone sees this and has a question suggestion for Tito Santana, look at my YouTube story and write your question suggestion in there. I will look over them before I do my interviews. I do post all my full shoot interviews on the Great North Wrestling podcast iTunes page, which you can find at the HannibalTV.com or in the description of this video. John Residence, would I interview Dana White? Of course. Of course I would. The Booty Man, please interview Bob Holly. He's a hard guy to track down. I was in Waterloo, Iowa with him a few years ago. There's a match of his on tape. I tried to do it that weekend, but he's nearly impossible to track down. Brett Cole Experience, am I going to have more UFO stuff on here? Yes. I am obsessed with that. Why am I obsessed with it? I'll get into it quickly now as all the wrestling fans tune out, because this stuff is becoming more and more real. The government has acknowledged that there's unidentified aerial phenomena, keyword phenomena, not aircraft, phenomena in U.S. airspace. That is like saying there's something in your backyard. You don't know what it is. That's a little freaky. But it's not our backyard. It's airspace. We don't know what they are. And there doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it. We need to find more data on that phenomenon. Yes, there are theories of people that have done research and say they know more and say they've talked to inside people that have given them information. You have to use your own judgment on that. The Stephen Greers of the world, he's in it for the money. I won't even get on my rants about Stephen Greer, but the only thing that we know for sure is military pilots have recorded unidentified aerial phenomenon with military grade cameras. They can go into water, in our atmosphere and outside of our atmosphere. We don't have any vehicles that do that. And should we just ignore it? What if it's Russia or China and they somehow have this technology? That's friggin' scary. So yes, I am interested in that subject, and there's going to be more videos on that subject because that's far more important than wrestling, because it involves the future of humankind, and there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on around nuclear silos. There's some connection with unidentified aerial phenomenon and water, as well as nuclear silos. So I won't get into too much the UFO subject, but it is 5:13 in the morning. Why not at least touch on it? Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to walk my dog.